Welcome to Choosing to Be, your home for intimate conversations on transformation. This is Amanda Wirtz Rosolowski, and I'm delighted to share this time with you. Good day. I am so grateful to be here. Back to the podcast, which is recorded in my kitchen. In case you're wondering, perhaps I'll show it to you sometime. A few of you have asked. Back to a healthier version of myself. Our house is not immune to the viruses currently circulating, and boy, did we ever get hit, and hard. I navigated my fair share of unsavory thoughts along the way, including 11 days of I don't want to be sick. Have you ever thought or said that? I don't want to be sick. I don't want to be fill in the blank. I don't want to feel fill in the blank. I just plain old don't want to be tired, sick. I don't want to be out of shape. I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be poor, in pain. I don't want to be insignificant. I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to fail. Well, welcome to the human condition. We spend a lot of our time thinking about what we don't want. A lot of time. In negative thinking, we ruminate. We catastrophize. We interpret things in unhelpful ways. But before we go beating ourselves up, what we don't want is actually quite helpful. The contrast of life is important because when we discover what we do not want, we can get more clear on what it is that we do want. And I believe the most successful, the happiest, the most mentally healthy people are those who train their brains to focus on what they do want. When it comes to what they don't want, they turn it around real quick. Now, let me be clear about one thing here. If you're facing, and we all are, if you're facing something that you do not want and you have feelings about it, negative feelings, that's appropriate. Make sure to allow yourself the space to feel those, to fully accept the truth of your experiences, and let those feelings move through you. Honor how you feel. Be a witness to your own life. Listen to podcast 5, what people really need from you, what you need from you. Observe your feelings. Acknowledge your feelings. Then when you're ready, use what you do not want to create a vision and ultimately a plan for what you do want. Let's look at some scientific research and strategies to retrain our minds and ultimately experience and enjoy more happiness and more success. According to recent research, a significant portion of our daily thoughts are negative, upwards of 80 to 90%. Although the prevalence of negative thinking can vary widely among individuals, there is an agreement that we trend heavily towards negativity. This is a problem because where we put our attention significantly influences our perceptions, decision-making, our behavior. It also affects our mood, our relationships, and our overall health. We're so sloppy. I put myself in that category too. We're so sloppy. We're frequently focusing on what we do not want. Now, there's no shame in this game. This is evolutionary. Let's talk about how our brain is helpful until it's not. Our brains have a natural tendency to focus on negative information. This is a phenomenon known as negativity bias. This bias means that negative events and experiences often have a more significant impact on our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors than positive ones, even of equal intensity. When we saw a tiger, we ran. And boy, did we remember that. Our brains are hardwired to imprint hardships, difficulties, and stressors. From an evolutionary standpoint, being attuned to potential threats was absolutely crucial for our survival. Early humans who were more vigilant about dangers such as predators or environmental hazards were more likely to survive and then pass on their genes. We've inherited a heightened sensitivity to negative stimuli, leading us to react more strongly to negative information. This incredible faculty saved us. It still does. We've learned to avoid catastrophe and pain. My sister and I grew up in the 1980s. At 16 years old, just a year older than myself, Rachel was excited and empowered appropriately to drive a car when she got her license. Specifically, my dad's giant black Ford Crown Victoria. This was 1993, and despite a mandatory seatbelt law being passed 8 years earlier, many people still did not wear seatbelts. I did a little digging. Illinois statistics report that in that year, only 63% of individuals wore seatbelts at the time. And our family was kind of wishy-washy. But for some reason, that day, when we sat down, we looked at each other and decided out loud for the first time ever that we would both wear seatbelts. And that was a very fortuitous choice, because only 20 minutes later, our car was hit nearly head-on by a truck going 50 miles an hour. The oncoming truck rolled on its side and plummeted into a nearby creek. My father's car was totaled. It had no airbags, but the seatbelts worked, and our lives were spared. Rachel and I walked away without a scratch. From that day on, we have both worn a seatbelt every single time we've gotten into a car. We still reflect on the uncanny favor or intuition that was afforded to us that day. That was a pretty significant event. The tiger was real, and boy, did we remember it. But as human beings, we also tend to fixate on much smaller negative experiences as well. And there's science to prove it. Studies have shown that negative stimuli capture our attention more readily and are processed more thoroughly than positive stimuli. For example, when viewing images in a study, individuals spent more time looking at negative images compared to positive ones. In your own life, compare the car accident on the highway that everyone slows down to see versus the beautiful sunset that's momentarily discarded a split second later. Studies have also identified a critical ratio of positive to negative effect that distinguishes individuals with flourishing mental health from those without. Here it is. People who experience a ratio of approximately 3 positive emotions for every negative one have been found to have significantly better mental health. Our thoughts create feelings. And as much as we feel powerless to our own thoughts, we do have control and the choice to redirect them. When we fixate on what we do not want, we create negative emotions and we create resistance. Who wants to say, today I think I'll create resistance, resistant feelings. I'm going to create resistance to the life I want. I mean, let's think about this. Maybe we didn't have great role models. Most people are honestly horrible at this. Forgive them. Let's move on. Be a pioneer. Be a hero to your own life. Be a hero to future generations. Teach your children, model this in community. You want to make a difference in this lifetime? Gosh, do that. We no longer have to stay stuck in what we do not want. In spite of our negativity bias, we can use those thoughts and feelings to help us create the life we do want. And I've broken this down into 5 simple steps. Step 1, accept your powerful brain. Don't shame yourself or even resist when thoughts of what you do not want arise. Step 1, accept your powerful, intelligent, resourceful brain. Second step, observe the thought without judgment. Why? Because judgment dampens our curiosity. Judgment hinders our creativity, and we need both of those things for step 3. Step 3, create a reframe. If this is what you do not want, then what do you want? Use your curiosity, use your creativity, and create a reframe. If it's, I don't want to be tired, which I hear that one a lot. I've said it certainly a time or 10,000. I don't want to be tired. Maybe it's, I want to feel energized and well rested. If it's, I don't want to be late. Maybe it's, I want to be on time and prepared. If it's, I don't want to fail, I want to, then what do you want? I want to learn. I want to grow. I want to succeed. I don't want to deal with this today. Maybe it's, I want to handle this with ease and confidence. I don't want to argue. I want to communicate clearly and peacefully. I don't want to be alone. Then maybe it's, I want to feel connected and supported. You get to create a reframe that is resonant and meaningful to you. To you. Notice the to you part. It doesn't have to make sense to anyone else. What do you really want? The 4th step is a question. If you want that, then what would you do right now? With all your resourcefulness, with the limitations you currently face, with the choices available to you, what would you do? For example, if you want health and vitality, then what would health and vitality do right now? What would you do to move towards that? Maybe it's you're so sick and weak in bed. Maybe it's just another sip of water. Maybe it's to sign up for an exercise class you've been curious about. Maybe it's to throw out the candy stash you have felt a slave to. Allow your mind to creatively consider your next step. Notice I said the next step, not all the steps with a bunch of rules and regulations. We're learning to move with more fluidity and greater ease toward the life we're envisioning and imagining. You've got to make some space mentally and emotionally for this. Limit your distractions. Create a practice of listening to yourself. This is podcast 1. This page left intentionally blank. Podcast 5, you're the authority. The answers, the next step will always come from you. This 4th step is super important. If you're able to concretize what you do want, but you have no next step, what you have is a destination with no way to get there. Unless your dream, what you want, any dream, has legs, you're just buying into a fantasy. Now, fantasies make a lot of money. They can feel good for a moment, but they are just dreams with no legs. And on some level, we know they're not going anywhere. This is ultimate suffering. Do not create suffering for yourself. Life is hard enough. The last step, step 5, take the step. Do the thing. Move the first leg. This gets you closer to what you want. And it also affirms your identity. You're the creator of your identity. It affirms your identity as someone who can and will turn it around and take action. The more you do this, the more you affirm this. Make it a mental groove in your mind. Make it a well-traveled path in your life. With repetition comes mastery. And this is your life. And as I shared earlier, you have everything on the line. Now, heck yeah, is what I say to all of this. I am personally working this turnaround. I'm working it frequently, daily. It is simultaneously humbling and empowering. But as you know, any step in your own personal growth will be both of those things. Ultimately, it's your choice. You live in a world of choice. In fact, your choice, especially when it comes to your thoughts, where you focus your attention, is the one thing that cannot be taken away from you. When you're faced with something you do not want, you get to choose what you do want. You get to choose your next step. You get to choose the courage to take the next step and move your dream into reality, no matter what it is. Then you can congratulate yourself, and I suggest that you do. Congratulate yourself for repositioning your focus, for redirecting your energy, and ultimately redirecting your life. You're doing it now, because transformation is always available to you. Listen to podcast number 1. So start practicing. Let's do it. Life is waiting for us, and so are our thoughts. Write down the 5 steps, print them out. I put them in the show notes. Send me a text through Buzzsprout on your experience. What? You can text me? Yes, you can, and I hope you do. Or connect with me online. If you haven't already, please subscribe to this podcast. Add it to your Invest in Yourself regimen and share it with your friends. And then go create the life. Go create the feelings you want. Foster the dreams that are moving through you because they matter. And so do you. Thank you for being part of our growing community. Until next time, this is Amanda Wirtz Rosolowski, celebrating your highest and most important choice, who you are choosing to be.